Hi guys, it's Sierra. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is basically going to be about how I style my twist outs. And so you also can use this method on any kind of style that you end up doing. I usually do this the night before unless you know, if there's some people who like to use some heat out there who you know, would do a twist out, whatever, a braid out, 3-string twist, band 2 knots, and then sit them under a dryer. You can do this right after you get out of the dryer and do these things that I'm going to show you guys. And today is the day for a slight trim. I have a couple of little pieces in the front that still have a little bit of heat damage that I want to get rid of, so I'll be doing that and showing you guys how I do a trim as well. So pretty much what you'll need is some hair cutting scissors. You'll need a little bit of oil. I'm using the Mystic Divine oil, and this has argan oil. Argan oil is really good for frizz and shine, and basically, you know, just a really big thing on eliminating frizz, so I definitely will be using that. If I did not have this oil, I would use a coconut oil. Any kind of oil will work. It's just to kind of like basically keep the frizz down from when you're taking out the twist or whatever you're going to be taking down for your style today. And then you'll also need a pick. And so first, I'm going to actually do the trim first because it just helps a whole lot. And so basically what I do is, and I did already put a little bit of oil on my hands before I started the video, and kind of went in on some of the pieces to kind of get the frizz down a little bit, because when you do cut the twist, they do kind of not necessarily get frizzy, but when you cut anything, it's gonna start off dry. So just kind of putting a little moisture to it before cutting them is definitely always a good thumbs up. And so basically all I do is I will get the piece of hair, and then I'll kind of see where I want to cut it, and then I will go in and then just snip the end. And so, and already you can tell like just how neater it looks. And that's pretty much for anybody, guys. When it comes to trims, guys, I'm a hairstylist, y'all, so I'm not gonna tell you any lies, but keeping your hair trimmed is so detrimental, y'all. Like, it keeps your hair looking fresh. You're not gonna have like these straggly ends, and it just overall it's just good for your hair. Especially during these winter months that are coming, it's definitely important to keep those ends healthy, because you know it's much more drier out there, it's cold, and so your hair is really counting on you to take care of your ends and keeping moisture in there. And so basically, and I would recommend, you know, I usually only cut it when needed. I can kind of tell when it needs a trim, but if you're going a whole month, and I would even roughly say a month and a half, if your hair grows a little bit slower, then, you know, a month and a half max on getting a little trim, but definitely every month. And so basically, like I said, what you do is just kind of grab, you can kind of do this first just to kind of see like how it kind of coils up on you, and you will just go in and just snip, and you'll just do this all the way around until you get all the little baby hairs off. And I also, guys, like, the reason why I just feel like just cutting your ends, just like, I know that's the last thing anybody's wanting to do is clip their ends, or like, oh my gosh, I just grew my hair, I just thought it was getting longer, now I gotta cut my ends. Like, it is hair, y'all. It will grow back, okay? Like, I promise you. And so I just like the ending result of my hair looking more defined at the ends as well. And if you guys don't trust yourself cutting, you know, all around your head, definitely get someone you trust, please, to cut them for you. And this is typically the easiest way to do it for me, because it's really hard to really trim your ends. I don't really straighten my hair, so that is another way to cut your ends, is actually straighten your hair and then kind of go in, because you can kind of see when you straighten your hair where the fraggly ends are. But because I've been doing this for a while, I can already feel where it needs to be cut, so I'm a little bit more of a pro. But yeah, if you don't trust yourself, just definitely get someone that you trust to cut them and get all your ends clipped off. And already you can kind of just see how much cleaner it looks. Not that one, but that's definitely a good example of how it would look if I didn't trim them. So these little fraggly ends right here is what I'm cutting off to get more of a cleaner look. My son is over here trying to be good. So yeah, so I just recently, right before I started this video, I actually did a little workout. And since I do have a little one, I did have an idea of kind of just talking to some mothers out there who have kids and, you know, trying to get their bodies snatched and looking good again. And I do know it's hard to try to make time to work out, especially when you have little ones, and especially if you have more than one. I fortunately have only one, but, you know, if you do have more than one, I definitely understand how hard it can be to try to get a workout regimen and stay consistent on it. So as I'm kind of walking you through this, I just kind of want to share a couple of tips as to what you can do to kind of get your kids a little bit, you know, just to be able to settle them down so that you can get a workout in. And my first tip is to get them their favorite little video to watch. You know, set them down in an area where they're not going to be all up in the area, and basically just get them everything you feel like they need. You know, make sure that they're, you know, they went to the potty, make sure that they've ate because they will come and tell you, "Mommy, I'm hungry." And I feel like another big thing is, you know, like I said, just putting them in a good space where they're not going to be bothering you too much. You know, you can always have someone in the house, you know, watch them. I'm not sure how long everybody works out, but I usually work out between 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour if I'm just feeling myself. But basically, you know, just try to find ways to do it. Like, I feel like I've always been a person to work out, so I get it in where I fit in, but I definitely know how hard it can be. Like, some days are better than others, but some days you're just like, dang, like I'm stopping every freaking 5 minutes. So those are just a couple tips just to kind of get you guys in, because I'm all for, you know, giving some advice when it comes to, like, you know, your body and your health. And that was just something random that I just wanted to talk about. But back to the hair. And so I've pretty much got all of them, and you can kind of tell which ones haven't been clipped. Like, I know you're asking me, like, how does she know that she's not double clipping her hair right now? But you honestly can see. You really can. So that, my friends, is, I think, all. I think I'm going to tip this a little bit more because it's still looking a little straight. Yeah, there we go. And so that is all I clipped. It's not much, but it was needed. And yeah, and you could just feel them, you know, how just rough they feel. Mine's actually feel pretty soft, but I think that's because I put that oil. So after you're done your clip, you're gonna kind of go in with whatever oil you're gonna use. And we're gonna just put a little bit on our hands. I would say maybe like a dime size, nothing too much. And then I'm basically just putting all the oil on my fingertips like so. And then the reason why I'm doing this is to eliminate the frizz. And so basically after you get a little bit of the oil on there, you're just going to kind of go through each one. Starting from the root. I'm like, what is that again? So starting from the root, and you're just going to separate it. And then you're going to twist the ends just so that you don't frizz them up. And there we go. And see there how nice and neat that looks, guys? Like, just look at it. It just looks cleaner. And so you'll basically do this all throughout the hair. All right, now from here, you might want to go in with a little bit more oil. And then basically what you're going to do from here is separate them. And this might take a little bit of time, but it will be so worth it. And from here you kind of want to start from the end. One thing I do like about this twist out that I'm seeing, I don't know if it's from the product that I use when I twist my hair, but I really like how it's easily separating. And it is definitely because I trim my ends a little bit too. That always helps to be able to trim your ends, because then your hair's not snagging on, you know, on the ends a lot. So when you separate it, it honestly just comes apart, which is what you want. And at the same time, I'm kind of separating it. I am kind of pulling it just to give it, because it is still in kind of like, you know, kind of like that. So you kind of just want to separate it and just kind of pull it just to kind of feel it in, basically. And then the front of my hair is not going to be as defined as everything else because that's where I have some of the heat damage. And then I would say where you feel like, you know, you've kind of filled in or see any of the twists that needed to be separated, you can kind of tell and see where you want to fill it in or where you want more hair. I usually don't go too extreme on separating it. I usually just separate and split them into 2 or 3s with the twist out, depending on how big they are. So once you get it to a good separating point, this is when the fun part comes. And so you're gonna get your trusty dusty pick. And basically what you're gonna do is start from the root. I think I'm gonna separate this a little bit. You are going to get your pick and start from the root and just lift. And you just want to pull it straight up. And then come from the bottom, kind of pull it out. Now you don't want to pull it out too much, just enough to give it some lift. Yeah, so that's pretty much probably all I'm going to do right now, to be honest. Because I can literally be here all day, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. But yeah, so after you kind of go in, you'll just kind of just go in and just lift some more all the way around. And then this just creates that fullness and kind of giving that like afro kind of look. My hair in some areas are still kind of straight, so it's not going to be the best, but already you can see here that it definitely looks more defined. And I'll kind of come up a little closer, but yeah, we got some little curls there. These ones are a little bit more straight, but we're getting there as well. And then, like I said, you can kind of go in and just refine. Like, this kind of does take a little bit more time to kind of go through and get it really neat and, you know, sculpt it the way you like it. But that is pretty much the gist of it, guys. So here we have a little bit of and if you do not like these little ends like this, like sometimes because my hair is still in that trimming, I'm still trimming some of those pieces that need a little bit of trimming for like the straight ends. What I will do is actually bantu knot like the front half of my hair so that when I take them out, it kind of at least curls at the end a little bit. So that will definitely be what I will do on the next one. I'll kind of show you guys how I kind of go about doing that as well. But I really love how this twist up came out though. Like, and there's not a lot of frizz, y'all. Like, and if you want them to kind of come out a little bit, you can kind of go piece by piece and individually pull them out and kind of put them where you want it. But that is pretty much it, guys. And you can do like a little twist across the front. That's probably what I'll be doing tomorrow, just because I really don't like how the front looks a little straight. Guys, like I said, this is a good way to trim your ends. It's just kind of twisting it and cutting the ends off, using an oil to keep the frizz down, and you just use your pick to kind of just pick it out. And that is it. If you guys found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.